Hello, hello, hello. And how are you doing today, my dear little human pet? Now that I think about it, I wonder if you can be even properly called a human anymore. I haven't actually changed your... what do you humans call it, DNA? No, that has remained untouched. I think that I could change it if I tried, but your body contains trillions of copies. Changing every single one of those would be such a pain, and it wouldn't really accomplish anything meaningful. No, it was more of a cosmetic surgery. So your genes are still human, though I wonder if that's what matters. Is that what makes a human a human? A string of proteins in their cells being in the right order? In the end, you no longer resemble anything close to a human. Any of your former kin who saw you would recoil in sheer horror. And I don't know if you realized, but you're different mentally now, too. Oh, absolutely. I remember how you behaved in the beginning. You're completely different. You used to be so innocent, pleading for mercy, simply trying to get away any way you could. But then you developed a defiant streak, trying to actively fight against me, sabotage me, or simply disobeying me out of spite. And now, you're starting to really settle into things. You still get frightened, now that you know the sort of things I can do to you. Your fear seems to be stronger than ever. But I think you started to truly realize that you're never, ever going to escape. You have a very grim demeanor, and you face each challenge with a sort of hopeless determination. Like you try your best to succeed, and you don't even know why. Oh no, I absolutely love it. I was worried you'd become desensitized, but instead you've become very focused on our games. It's delightful. So that brings me to the question of, after you no longer look like a human or think like a human, whether you could be partially considered a human still. Yesterday I decided to call you simply mortal, so I guess I should stick with that. That's the most delightful thing after all. This warping of your mind and body, you still have the ability to feel pain and die. You haven't changed in any way that would truly benefit you. Why, yes, I am going to keep prattling on. I see you haven't entirely lost your defiant streak. Lucky for me. It makes things more interesting. But no, there won't be any chase today. Honestly, I'm too tired. I had to really try yesterday. For the first time in centuries. I have to confess, I'm a little bit out of shape. I'll have to rest up before we can do another chase. In the meantime, I decided that I could toy with you. Some good old psychological abuse will keep you in the right mindset for me. Speaking of which, I wonder why it is that you have managed to stay so entertaining. Your mind is absolutely fascinating. I was so worried earlier that you would break or get desensitized, but somehow you've managed to... What is that saying? Age like a fine wine. Perhaps you were never truly human. Not mentally. There's something different about you. Long ago I used to torture humans all the time, and they never quite behaved like you. It's as if you were made to be my plaything. Oh, you don't like that, do you? Does it bother you that you make things enjoyable for me? Sometimes I wonder if that's the true purpose of humans. To provide us monsters with delicious fear. I'll admit there were a few times where I thought you were going to run out of ways to amuse me. But you always bounce back. To tell you the truth, I tried to be very conservative with the changes to your body. I was concerned about psychological effects, but it looks like you won't break so easily. I think I want to try some more drastic changes next time. Oh, well now, isn't that an interesting idea? Experiment on my own body? Well, sure, I've done it before. Like I told you, I used to look more or less like you. Or rather, how you used to look. I've already changed my own body, but I haven't tried any changes in a very, very long time. I've grown accustomed to this form, but perhaps it is trying to change things up. You might come to regret mentioning that, though. If you want a shot at escaping me, you shouldn't encourage me to improve my own abilities. Disturbing as you may find your new body, you can't deny that I made you much more suited to running away. No, it's too late. You shouldn't have put that idea in my head. Now, let's see. What should I do to myself? How can I make things more interesting? The obvious choice is making some of the same changes I made to you, to make me a bit better at chasing, but that seems a bit redundant, doesn't it? That essentially cancels out your improvements, making the chase less challenging and enjoyable once again. Well, one thing I don't enjoy about our chases is when you manage to slip out of my grasp. In my opinion, the chase should end the moment I catch you. Whenever you manage to wrest yourself out of my clutches, it feels like you've ruined the victory for me a bit. In that case... Ooh, now this feels interesting. Look at my body, so long and sinuous now. This way I can wrap myself around you and ensure that you don't slip away. Feels a bit ungainly with only 2 legs, though. Let's add a few more for balance. Much better. This should make for an interesting chase next time. Though, I don't want to go into it without any practice. I would hate to slip up and let you get away from me from good. Let's see how easy it is for me to wrap around you so you can't move. That was surprisingly easy. Even with your wriggling like that, yes, this should work quite perfectly. It's actually quite comfortable, being wrapped around you this way. I think I'll spend a little more time like this. It tickles a little bit when you wriggle like that. It's strange. It's not very often when a monster finds something pleasurable unless it involves fear or pain. I had assumed that I exhausted every other sensation. But then, I never was one to make radical changes to my body. This is the first time I've ever done something non-humanoid. Well, monster biology seems almost ideal for shape-shifting, unlike with you, where I have to be very careful to make sure the changes I make all work together. My body will actually adapt on its own. For example, when I lengthened my spine just now, my back muscles strengthened to support it, all on their own. For that reason, I'm a little reluctant to change my form most of the time. You don't know what unexpected changes could happen. They're usually reversible, of course, but I've heard rumors that mental effects are possible. And yet I'm not so worried when I think about it how I want to make our chases more interesting. You really have made things so much more interesting. Suddenly, I don't care as much as what happens to me, so long as it's entertaining. I wonder what the future will bring. What new depths we will dive in order to keep things fresh. I could make all sorts of changes to the both of us, couldn't I? That was a nice reaction. You don't like the sound of more changes, do you? I wonder, what sort of changes would you fear the most? We'll have lots to do and lots of experiments to find out. Perhaps that's enough for today. I want to practice using this new body. It wouldn't do well for you to get away because I tripped over all my new legs. Have fun with your day off. Well, as much fun as you can have in that little cage. Until next time, my dear little prey.